Hello again, all fluids, solids, whatever you're identifying as today. Over these protests, so-called protests over the weekend, women think all men are bad. Every man's out to rape them, kill them, harass them. Well, let's put a few things into perspective. Don't get me wrong, I don't disagree that the women do have a bit of a bad time of it at times. There are one or two that bring it on themselves, believe me. But let's go through some figures. These are freely available on the internet, by the way. The Office of National Statistics, the ONS, on the government websites is a good source of information should you want it. We'll go back over the last decade for this section. Past decade, killings. 4,493 men killed in attacks in this country. Over the same time period, 2,075 women. So well over half, or 2/3 of the people that are murdered in this country are men. Yes, it does say 9 out of 10 killers will be a man. But that does mean 1% of them are women. And 92% of women killed in this country are killed in their own home. 57% of those know their killer, be it ex-partner, existing partner, or just somebody they know, a friend. What else have we got here that looks interesting? The actual problem I see with a lot of this is, as the women rightly say, the police. Now, this covers, doesn't actually say, this is 2016-2017, and the last set of figures is 2019 to 2020. There was estimated 151,000 rapes. Police recorded 55,000 of those, which resulted in just over 2,000 prosecutions, but they only got 1,400 convictions. Now, there's a big discrepancy there. Police aren't doing the job they're getting paid to do. Now, you've got to bear in mind that sexual assault or harassment can mean many things. We've all known women that you give them a sideways glance or just look at them, maybe because they look pretty. They take an offence to that. Many women look at blokes. Nobody says anything then. My partner is absolutely wonderful. We've no problems between us. On occasion, she's caught me looking at women in public when we've been out, and she uses the phrase, "You can look at a menu anywhere as long as you eat at home." And likewise, I've caught her looking at men. She sees something nice in them. It's always glorified on TV and in the press. You know, it's just the world gone bloody mad again. But women, it's not just about you. There are men that are assaulted regularly by women in this country. And you don't hear us kicking up. Maybe we should. You know, maybe we should say, oh, okay, women have got to be on a curfew. How ridiculous is that? You're alienating couples that work well together then. Is a couple not allowed to go out after 6 o'clock? The biggest problem lies with the police investigating these crimes and bringing them to prosecution. Where were all you women when young Emily Jones on Mother's Day had her throat slit? What was she, 6 years old? In front of her family, in a park, by an illegal immigrant. Didn't hear any uprising then. You didn't want to protect your kids then, did you? As many of these thousands of these people were coming into this country free to wander about, and in their religion and their country they openly batter women, oppress women. Yet a lot of women, oh, let's let them in, let's give them sanctuary. Don't see anything in that. No mainstream media reports on that, do they? You know, if you're going to start standing up and screaming like banshees about something, get it right. Make sure you're shouting for the right reason. Yeah, many women do get oppressed. Many women do get hassled. But there also are downtrodden men in this country who get phone calls every 5 minutes of the day because a woman wants to know where he is, who's he with, what he's doing. It does work both ways. But the way you took over that vigil, that to me was disgusting. You turned it from a vigil for a young woman that had been murdered by a police officer, who she probably trusted at the time, because he was a police officer or showed that he was a police officer, a warrant card, whatever. That is just wrong. And there are many examples of police beating women, harassing women. PAP, police abusing powers. Not a week goes by where he doesn't put out where a police officer has been caught harassing, sexually abusing a woman, etc. What do the courts do? Suspended sentences, out on bail. What does that tell you? Paedophiles everywhere, grooming gangs. What do the police do? Suspended sentences in many of them, even police officers that have been involved in it, which there are many. This has been proved. Just that mainstream media don't report on these. They don't report on these court cases. And this is where channels like PAP comes into their own, because they does inform the public exactly what's going on out there. So don't think you're alone, women. Don't play that card. It's you've turned a vigil into a BLM Antifa outrage, basically. Let's see the mainstream media, put some footage out of what happened at the protests in London last year. Innocent pensioners, men and women, getting battened for basically being stood next to somebody else, or just because they were in a police officer's way. The police officers harassing innocent people on the streets to try and give them fines, to try and intimidate them into doing something wrong. Sorry, girls, you're not the only ones that are oppressed in this country. So if you're going to stand up, you're going to start shouting. Shout for everybody, not just yourselves, because you're not the only ones in this world. Anyway, people, all this information, there's many figures out there, and all on government websites. But obviously a lot of people can't be bothered or haven't got the time to look at this. At the moment I have. I've got today, then I've got a couple of days work coming up. So, but screaming like banshees, antagonising the police like that, you're going to get it. They're going to take you down. And you'll achieve nothing. So, until then, people, stay safe, stay strong, stay free.